The NFL next. Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, yeah, you know it.
I remember.
Open up the checkbook. Quinnen Williams agrees to a 3-year, $105.9 million extension with the team. The deal included $101 million guaranteed.
Wow.
It makes Williams $35.3 million annual average, the second highest amongst defensive tackles. We have our NFL guys here. Welcome in. Jason McCourty, what impact do you think Quinnen Williams will make on this Cowboys team now that he's locked up for 3 years on the roster?
We saw some of that a season ago when he got there. Their run defense drastically improved. Now, they were so bad before he got there. Overall, the defense still wasn't a good one, but he was a difference maker in the middle of that defense along with Kenny Clark. So when you make a trade and you go out and get a player like Quinnen Williams, you don't know for sure what you're going to get inside the building. You know the production is going to be there. But since getting there, Quinnen Williams has been a leader. He's been a fun guy to have in the building and one that the young guys can learn from. When you get that, you reward the player, you pay him the money. Quinnen Williams much deserved this contract, and he's a guy to anchor the middle of their defense.
Guys, it's an annual rite of passage. It's August, and there's Cowboys hype, and everyone's saying, is this the year? Is this the year? And most people on TV are like, yeah, this is the year. This is the year.
It's been 30 years.
It's been 31 years since they have even gotten past the NFC Championship. Why is this year different?
Well, I don't know that it is, first of all, but if it is, it's going to be about, what Brian Schottenheimer and this coaching staff bring that previous ones couldn't. Is he the guy that can elevate beyond where Mike McCarthy got them, where Jason Garrett got them? That is a question. There were good, positive early returns on Schottenheimer in his first year with the Cowboys. They didn't win enough games. So do they have the players now? The defense is going to be very young with a first-time coordinator. We discussed this a lot yesterday. Where they know they're good is in the middle of that defensive line with Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark. So this is a message to the locker room and to the rest of the world, frankly, that this is a player in Quinnen Williams that we believe in all aspects, as a player, as a leader, everything we're looking for. And they're telling you they're rewarding those kinds of guys. So if Brian Schottenheimer, who is not wanting to rest on his laurels offensively, is running these guys sprints at the end of practice, which he didn't do last year in training camp. Like if he can find another level for this team and we get into the playoffs and he turns out to be the coach they've been looking for all this time, then sure, it can be different.
Hawk,
Big ifs.
Why is this year different than all other years?
Well, I mean, you got to look at the trajectory. You talked about Schottenheimer. We judge players based on your ability to perform above expectation.
Yep.
Coach Schotty did that. I remember when we hired him, everybody was questioning whether or not the Cowboys backed into this deal. How great could he be as an offensive coordinator? And would Dak Prescott benefit or be hurt by the fact that he didn't have the resume of some of the other candidates that we talked about? Then you get George Pickens, who now you have not just a viable number two, he supplants CeeDee Lamb as receiver one. So when you look at the moves that they made this offseason, no, they're not all super sexy. They're not all super exciting and splash versions that we have come accustomed to with Cowboys moves, but they feel like the right ones, and they feel like they have that similar trajectory that Schottenheimer brought in the moment he became the head coach.
And I think as you look at the moves they've made, and you go all the way back to they traded for George Pickens. He was going into the last year of his deal, and we talked all offseason of what's it going to be? Are they going to pay George Pickens? Are they going to wait? They decided to wait. And for a lot of people on the outside, they looked at it and they were like, well, that was kind of responsible. Like, you got a good year out of him. Why not wait another year and see what you're going to get? They paid Quinnen Williams. You got a guy that's a leader. You paid him. So I think the example they're setting for the locker room is like, hey, you do what's asked of you and you do it the right way, we're going to keep you.
Which is an interesting segue. This tweet came out overnight, and our producers were like, we got to get this in the show, and I think it's fair to do so. John McCourty covers the Cowboys. Just talked with Cowboys EVP Stephen Jones about the Quinnen Williams new deal. He's a great player and one of the hardest practicing guys out there. Every time he lines up, you feel him. He doesn't take anything for granted. He doesn't say, hey, I got this. I'll let my play do the talking. You see it. He's the best player on the field whenever he's out there. The other thing is, what a man he is. He's a leader. We didn't have a lot of leadership on the defense for the last couple of years. To have him and Kenny and Rashawn Gary, I think they picked it up over there in terms of culture and the leadership, end quote. Back here at the table, is that a direct shot at Micah Parsons? Is that a finishing blow, a haymaker to Micah Parsons' face when you hear that quote?
Micah Parsons and anyone else on the prior teams that considered themselves
Micah Parsons. I'm not
leaders.
worried about the other guys.
Because we want to throw it at Micah Parsons, but Micah Parsons was the best player on their defense. Yeah. Does he have to be the captain? Does he have to be the leader? No. Now, if he was calling himself that, then yes, it is a shot at him. But if I'm Micah Parsons, I'm like, I still was a damn good player, and you guys got worse without me. That is the bottom line. Numbers show that.
Yeah, I led in everything that I did on the field. So, yeah, there's different ways to lead. There's the lead by example. There's the verbal leader. There's all, like, the do the right things in the locker room. For Micah Parsons, to J-Mac's point, he was the best football player every time he stepped on the field. So, yes, this is probably a shot at Micah Parsons. But also, the reality is, I built the beginning part of a Hall of Fame career. So if more people led like me, we probably...
We got sneaky big news coming out of Lions camp. Dan Campbell's team is dealing with some notable injuries, and this was a big one yesterday. Center Cade Mays, who they got in free agency, is expected to be out 8 to 10 weeks with a wrist fracture. Meanwhile, their other running back, Isaiah Pacheco, is now dealing with an MCL sprain and will miss some time, though he is expected to come back by week 1. Guys, there was a lot of talk about the Lions the last few weeks. J-Mac, we went big on Tunzel for the Commanders.
Yeah.
You could argue the center and that new center exchange with the quarterback might be just as significant for Detroit.
I think even more significant for the fact that there's question marks along this Lions offensive line. And you look at what goes for them on offense, Jared Goff. And when he's protected, he goes out and plays like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Penei Sewell, their all-pro, all-world right tackle, is moving to the other side of the line of scrimmage. They have competition at guard, a rookie at the right tackle. But there's so many question marks along this offensive line. Mays was brought in to shore up that center spot. So now him going through this injury, not sure when he's going to be back. Now, how do you figure that out to be able to get Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Jamison Williams, all of these guys the ball?
Is Jahmyr Gibbs going to be able to do the same thing he did if the center is not the best center and maybe the offensive line is not what they thought it was going to be?
He better. I mean, they're going to need him to, because the part that J-Mac is not saying is Jared Goff is slow. And if you have interior pressure, it's going to be very hard to run this offense. Now, Jared Goff, to me, is the best quarterback in this division, and he's the most consistent. Drew Petzing comes in, and he runs that Shanahan-McVay-style offense with Jahmyr Gibbs. It allows you to exploit defenses in their matchup because he might be in the game in the backfield. You can put him in the slot, and he's just as good as any slot receiver in the game. And his ability to both run and catch the football will put him in a position to have his best year yet because there's no David Montgomery to split those touches with.
With so much talk over the last few days about Sean Mannion and Declan Doyle, we thought it'd be interesting to introduce you again or reintroduce you to the Lions' new offensive coordinator, Drew Petzing. Take a listen. Take a look. This is Drew Petzing, all right? Entering his 14th season. He was the Cardinals OC the last 3 years, but was a Browns quarterbacks coach, but the real bulk of it was a Vikings assistant coach, 2014 to 2019. Graz, in a league with so many new offensive coordinator hires, what does Drew Petzing bring to the table for these guys?
Well, experience, and that's we talk about. Declan Doyle, Sean Mannion. I mean, they're doing this for the first time. This is a coach who's been coaching for 14 years at the NFL level. Last seen executing a pretty effective, high-volume passing offense with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback in Arizona. So we know he can do it. The Lions move. Ben Johnson gets the head coach job with the Bears last year. The Lions bring in John Morton. Didn't work. Petzing is well regarded. We know exactly what he's going to run. The center loss is tough. That was a targeted free agent signing for them. They felt like he was the kind of guy they needed, schematically and in terms of toughness. You go back 2 years ago when they were in the NFC Championship game, or 3 years ago, 2 years ago they went 15-2. It was about that offensive line being rock solid. They have not sufficiently reacted to all the changes along that line, and that could be the kind of thing that limits their ceiling.
New OC, but obviously this is a big blow losing that. But I will say this, the 32nd toughest schedule in the NFL this year, Detroit Lions. Coming up, college football playoff discussion takes a fascinating turn. The SEC wants 16, but the Big Ten wants 24. Is a compromise in the works? Plus, bully ball in New York. Yes, this team went 4-13 last year, and they're talking about bully ball. Oh, we've got plenty of Giants talk after this.